Grand Slam, the battleground for tennis geniuses around the world, is where, as announced by the International Tennis Federation ITF in 2024, those with unparalleled effort and talent among over 100 million tennis players have become professionals and are playing in games with enormous prize money. In fact, just being in the top 1,000 in the world means you are among the top 0.01% of players. However, it is no exaggeration to say that the world number one is a different level of monster among them. So what is the difference between top-ranked players and those ranked 1,000? In terms of skills, there are significant differences in shot accuracy, spin, variety of ball types, and court coverage. In terms of physicality, top-ranked players can be said to possess stamina, recovery, speed, and power, almost as if they are complete athletes. There is a difference in the ability to manage tension in big matches and the ability to focus at every moment. As you know, ATP and WTA rankings are determined based on the points accumulated by players over the year. The top-ranked player usually earns thousands of points just by winning or finishing as a runner-up in Masters-level tournaments or Grand Slams. However, players ranked around 1,000 mostly earn dozens to hundreds of points in futures or challenger tournaments and in qualifiers. For example, by the end of 2024, the top rank is held by Jannik Sinner with 11,130 points, while those ranked around 1,000 earn about 5 to 10 points, showing a huge gap. The gap is enormous. Simply put, if you look at a point gap of over 1,000 times, it suggests that there is likely a significant difference in skill. However, the situation changes when comparing the first and 100th ranks. In a sports commentary, there is a phrase that says, "Both are monsters, but the one ranked first is like a monster every day, while the one ranked 100th is sometimes like a monster." It is generally agreed that there is hardly any difference in skills, power, or stroke quality among players ranked in the top 100. When looking at just one rally, it's hard to tell who is ranked first. In fact, it is not uncommon to see a player ranked in the top 100 winning a set or a match against the top-ranked player. It is not uncommon for Nadal, who was ranked first, to lose to Dustin Brown from Germany, who was ranked outside the top 100, or for Medvedev to struggle against a player ranked outside the top 100 at the 2022 US Open, or for a top 10 player to be eliminated by a player ranked outside the top 100 in a Masters tournament. At that time, world number one Rafael Nadal mentioned in an interview, "I lose sleep over the pressure of possibly losing the match the next day." Among professional players, there is a saying that a 1% difference determines the outcome of the match. This is a point that shows how difficult it is to maintain a top ranking, and it speaks to the challenge of consistently widening the gap by repeating that 1%. In this regard, Rafael Nadal has left a record that is unlikely to be broken for a considerable time, which is why he can be considered one of the greatest players in history. He was in the top 10 for 9-12 consecutive weeks, almost 20 years. This is an incredible record that even Djokovic and Federer could not achieve. The technical difference between the player ranked first and the player ranked 100th lies in subtlety, widening the gap in tactical and game management skills, psychological stability and experience, leading to consistent performance that is neck and neck. During the Big Three era, Nadal faced fierce competition, being pursued by Federer above and Djokovic below, putting him in intense matches. From Federer winning his first Grand Slam title at Wimbledon in 2003 to Djokovic winning his last Grand Slam title at the US Open in 2023. The Big Three have won a total of 66 out of 81 Grand Slam tournaments. Among them, what Nadal held in his hand was exactly 1/3, 22 times, and they spent an era showcasing legendary matches that will be remembered in tennis history. Despite countless strong challenges from numerous tennis geniuses around the world, the Big Three created monumental records through a combination of genius, talent, and relentless effort within that small margin. In particular, even in this situation, Nadal achieved 14 titles at Roland Garros, with a 97% win rate, leaving behind monumental records of multi-Grand Slam victories and youngest Golden Grand Slam titles that are unlikely to be broken for the time being. What is Nadal's secret in the fierce competition? In short, it means he approached the game with a clear tactic and strategy. In an interview, he said, "The strategy for the match against Roger was clear. I always attacked his backhand. Even if I had the chance to hit down the line, I told myself that there were only two situations for doing so. One is when aiming for a winner, and the other is when I need to push him to one side of the court to create space. On the other hand, he played more aggressively to avoid it. Every time he hit a forehand, I took a step back." As is well known, Nadal prepared for rallies by stepping back against Federer's backhand and attacking Federer's forehand. while he often used slices against Djokovic. There were times when it was better to aim for the center rather than taking shots with a large angle. And he had a clear tactic and strategy that if he created space, but didn't achieve a one-shot, one-kill, he would be countered. At this point, how skilled are we, the club members? Sometimes, among club members, there are those who mention an NTRP of 5 and claim they can keep up with players in matches. We can directly compare the gap between them and us. The comparison between an NTRP 5 club member and a player ranked around 1,000 is as follows. There is a difference between a 180 to 200 km and 120 to 140 km in the serve. The second serve differs in terms of instability and stability. The forehand stroke and footwork can be seen as having the stamina to handle a 5-set full match, while even playing just 2 to 3 games can lead to exhaustion. Since a serve cannot be returned even once, and rally speed, angle, depth are in an absolutely losing state, the possibility of a 6-0 score in a 3-set game becomes 99%. The difference between stamina and strength is an absolute relationship in tennis. For example, there is a case where the top female tennis player, Serena Williams, ranked around 20th at the time, lost 6-2 to a German male player ranked around 203rd. It was generally agreed that it would also be difficult to compete against male players ranked around 700th. So how can we move up despite the small differences? In fact, most of our club members think that our skills are pretty much the same. We've been playing together on the same team for a long time, and since we know each other's habits and routines well, it seems like we should win the game, but on the contrary, since the opposing team members know me well, it often ends up being a close match. However, one might say, what kind of tactics can there be at the amateur level? But on that day, when you approach the game with clear tactics and strategies regarding your opponent and partner in doubles, even small differences can ultimately lead to a significant advantage in winning the game. Many amateurs realize that their opponent is left-handed only towards the end of the game. At the very least, after making the first serve, hit the shortened return ball hard to the center with a forehand. Starting with that thought can change the body's reaction. Rather than simply rushing through the motions, there is a significant difference in hitting each shot with a certain strategy and tactics. With such tactical strategies, when individual data accumulates, many aspects of tennis naturally come into view. Amateur players should occasionally reflect on whether they are like a frog in a well. In particular, those who only have a lot of experience or dislike, receiving lessons and feedback, and think of tennis as just a simple sport, often find themselves like a frog in a well when it comes to watching and playing tennis. At least there should be team members who are good at forehands, backhands, serves, and slices. Having the attitude to seek advice and find lessons from each of them can lead to more cost-effective training. The years of amateur players tend to result in a decrease in skill and strength rather than continuous improvement. Getting checked every day like a professional athlete is not training. Only self-assessment and advice, or feedback from teammates can help maintain or improve performance. Starting today, let's play tennis with our own tactical strategies. Don't forget to subscribe today as well.
TennisGo story.